Welcome to the very first edition of Sassy Mint, Mystic Jester. Here we go. Last week, I found myself in a beautiful spot at a spiritual retreat, and I made a decision to work on myself at that spiritual retreat. I made a decision to become the next stage who I want to be in my life. And I had to decide in the past week about a whole lot of things to think or let go of in my life, whether they be stuff or relationships. And I decided this Sunday morning that I was not going to go to church. And it's an unusual decision. My leg was hurting was my reason initially, but I just felt called to stay here. So I found a YouTube video, and I want to point out that this video was just sort of was like the next one in a stream of videos on consciousness. Wasn't something that I searched for, and what came up was pretty remarkable, pretty profound as far as I'm concerned anyway. It was all about Moses and what the message Moses got from God when Moses asked about the burning bush. And it was, the bush said, "I am that I am." And "I am that I am" has become a phrase that apparently Aries, it's their phrase, it's "I am." And I am sort of attracted to it, interested by it, and I guess what these people are saying is that the Bible misinterpreted what was going on, what God was saying then. They say that God was saying that God is in us. That's what he was saying. "I am that I am." And it's like, I am that. I am. So while they're telling the story of Moses, they're telling this whole meta story of what life is all about, really, in so many ways. So they call this the Moses Code. You can go to a website about themosescode.com. But Moses had a transformative experience, one that, as a 12-step person talking about spiritual experiences, he's a reference point for us. We talk about burning bush variety religious experiences compared to educational varieties of religious spirit experience. And I've had far more of the educational varieties when I look back and said, wow, if I knew what I knew now, and then looking back and saying, wow, I see now why everything had to be the way it was in order for it to get to this wonderful place, like the piece of the jigsaw puzzle, that you can't find a place for it today because the surrounding pieces haven't been put in yet. So you have to wait till a few days down the road. And then when you put it in, oh, you see the whole picture, and it's beautiful. And you could never imagine something as beautiful, but you just have to be patient on that puzzle that, is your life. So they say that there are 3 keys for us unlocking this embodiment of God within us, this I am that is in I am. So they call them God. They've got them. God is the G one is giving. And he talked about a place in the brain that when you think something or do something or feel something, there's a part of the brain that doesn't separate you from other people. So it's just you're experiencing it. So if you're thinking, whatever you are thinking and the emotion around it, you're experiencing that, right? It's, I guess we say in the program that it's like being angry is like taking poison and expecting somebody else to get sick, right? It's the same kind of thing. So it's something, if we can somehow fine tune what we are tuning in, what we are fine tuning in our bodies and in our reality, right? And the next one is giving is sacred grace, and that's so true. It's sacred grace because there are so many people that give, and they have this sacred grace about them. There's just something about them. I don't know, it's hard to explain, but that they're on a mission, that. And it's a mission for good. They're working for the power. They're using their powers for good, bottom line, right? So, the next one in the God is oneness. So, it's how, we can actually feel and experience this body, this God in our body. And it talks about we have to be careful here, be slippery slope between the ego, which is thinking about things on, separates us from everybody else. We are different. We're different. We are not that, right? It says we are not that. That's what the ego says, period. And the God embodiment is that insight when we look into ourselves and we experience that oneness. We feel that you just like, it's a power comes up through the base of your spine and out through your heart, and you can feel it. And they say that, the primary principle, we're dancing in the illusion that we are separate, but we are not separate. We know that from what we've discovered from the unified field and string theory, and physically we are not separate. There are these things that can be in one place or another place, or not in one place or another place at the same time, or not at the same time. Imagine that potential, all that potential. And in the reading in my Science of Mind text that I every morning I read a certain passage from Science of Mind written by Ernest Holmes, and he's the guy that was behind the positive affirmations, and it was his ideas that have been proven by science to be absolutely right that were used in making the movie The Secret. It was, it was his insight, and he was well steeped in all the classical theologians, psychologists, and he had a pretty good idea what he was talking about. So, but Moses definitely had a transcendent experience. He felt that there was something in that, seeing that flame and experiencing that flame, he experienced something in his body, right? That's transcendence, to be able to, you're not in your same body. I know because earlier this week I had an experience where I closed my eyes and I saw red, and then it come through sort of a white vein from behind, and then it turned a golden color, and then it became brighter and brighter until it was this bright light. And my throat kept closing because I was frightened, because I felt like I was being swept up out of my body, like I was being pulled up, and it felt so good. And I felt myself leave my body. I wasn't feeling my body anymore. It was relaxing all the way up because it was such beautiful, potent energy. And then a car went by. I was sitting on the front step, and I opened my eyes, and I achieved it a couple of times more by closing my eyes and, really trying to breathe. And, he talks about, everybody thinks that to make it spiritually you have to be perfect, but the fact of the matter is, it's my, what do they call it? Every dark quality bears some kind of positive fruit. Ultimately, it makes me grow. It takes me to a different part of myself, brings me to the next level, so to speak. So if we cannot feel the love for ourselves, how can we experience it for others? Like, how can we do it if we can't love ourselves? So what we have to do is go within, and that's what this week, this mental, physical, and spiritual spring cleaning, that's what it's been all about. It's been about going within and sorting through in my heart what needs to stay in my life and what I need to let go of in order to pursue my interests, which are to get more fit and physically healthy, and to carry less weight, so that I'll have more energy and be able to focus. I know he's probably not supposed to close your eyes, but hey, I'm just being me. The primary principle is that we are one with power, love, and life. And that when we feel that oneness, that's our true authenticity of who we are. That's coming out through us, that we are, we have the transcendence within. So destiny, this is my destiny. I know my destiny. This is the D part of the G-O-D is destiny. What is my calling? Well, I know what my calling is. I've had the same calling for years. I want to share the life experiences I've had and the lessons that I've learned from those life experiences I've had. And I want to be able to do this probably on stage or as a inspirational speaker. I'm not sure which, but either way, I need to be more physically fit, and so that I can focus and be able to move around a lot, and be free to move, and it really experience the embodiment of God coming through me, not be all crippled up in pain all the time. Okay, destiny. And so they talk about all these 40 years. There was 40 cubits in the air, and there's 40 years in the desert, and all these 40s. And she says that apparently these 40s symbolize the time it takes for transformation. So she said, everyone right now might be watching. You might be in that moment right now. Well, I've been in that moment for a long time. But I know now that I must go forward. And in order to go forward, I have to let go of some of the things I currently hold on to in my life, habits and relationships and stuff, physical stuff too. I got rid of a couple of good sized boxes of stuff I just had on my kitchen cupboards. And another big one, I got gutted like 90% of my hats I let go of, which is big for me because I had quite a collection. So it's the trick here is in going to our destiny. We feel like the life we live is not sufficient to the purpose we've been called for. And that's what I feel. I feel like the life I've been living thus far is not sufficient to be able to do what I feel I've been called to do in this walk in my soul and my spirit. And it's to find that I am called for, and they say, well, who are you? You're not ordained. And I say, well, who are the ordained people? Who said that the people who picked the ordained people were that holy? Who picked them? Nobody asked me about it. Like, hello, why should I acknowledge something else as holy and ordained that I have had no control, no power or control over when I see something else as holy and ordained? I have friends who, they don't have the paperwork, but they're priests and they're priestesses. They have that in their spirit. They embody and bring something. They bring something to this world. And I bring something to this world. And what I bring to this world is stuff that's hard to hear. I have to talk about stuff nobody else wants to talk about. Sex, drugs, and, politics, right? Okay, that more shall be revealed. So they talk about dipping within your soul and looking for your essence. And really look for your still small voice. Meditate. Tune in the voice of the soul. Surrender to service. Make a difference by giving to humanity. To do that, and that's what I believe I'm trying to do. And they go on and they talk about this Elevate Film Festival, which is probably pretty interesting. ELEVATE Film Festival. They talk about aligning the pharaoh and the heart. And this is what the Science of Mind text this week I was learning. I was reading and writing down, because it helps me to write them out in a different handwriting than I normally write in. And it was talking about we have to remember that whatever we think is we're producing. We have to remember that, right? So, and in that, we have to remember that if we're thinking negative or double negative, the universe can't produce it. We have to think in the positive. We have to, I am that I am. We have to bring that through. And then that was something else they said further on about bringing the search for what your calling is. It's not about bringing stuff to you, you know what I mean, fame, fortune, so on and so forth. It's about bringing something holy through you, right? Something that's, it's inspired. It's a calling. It's been my calling. My calling is to be like the woman on the corner on the soapbox. Only I'm not calling for the end of the world. I'm calling for the beginning of a new world. And in the beginning of that new world, the whole earth, like the 100 monkeys, they all connect in the consciousness of love and taking care of each other. And the whole world and across the whole planet, local leaders will step up and they'll lead the communities to become communities and to become unified, and the communities will become unified, and so on and so on. And there will just be one. There's just one. There's just us. There's nobody else here. There's just us. So this is craziness. The idea of, and I saw Stephen Hawking this week, there was attributed a quote that we should not put all our eggs in a basket called Earth, because the humans were going to destroy themselves. We should go to another planet. And I personally believe that the idea of taking we've got how many years in technology have we come in the last 30 years? How many years advanced? What, 200-300 years, right? From the dial telephone. But yet socially nothing has really changed. Socially people are still killing other people, and they're calling it by various names, but it is just capitalism is all it is. It's about making the money, and the people who have the money are calling the shots. And but what is going to happen is I'm going to wake up some morning, I'm going to turn on my Facebook, and everybody's going to be saying, good morning, it's the beginning of a new world. We know what we're here for. We're here to love each other. That's what we're here for. That's the whole purpose. That's the whole thing. Unto others is we have done unto you, right? What did we do to others? We are doing in effect to ourselves, because there's a piece in our brain that doesn't separate us from the other. It even when the other is experiencing something, our brain is experiencing it. So that's whatever you. It's like what I've always the analogy I've used is having a barbed wire vest that you hug to yourself. It's next to your skin that you hug to yourself over and over and over again, digging those pieces of painful barbed wire into your flesh, right? Like, and feeling that same pain over and over and over again, and nothing good comes from that. Nothing good comes from that. So whatever thoughts you obsess on, try to make sure the thoughts you obsess on are positive thoughts for things that you desire to bring into your life, because that's what's coming. Whatever you think about in your heart. Oh yeah, that was the other thing. On the other day I was watching this video, and it talked about how we know now that matter what we didn't know about the atom years ago. We thought it looked like this, but it doesn't. It looks like this. And they said there's only two things that can affect the behavior, and they don't even know how they affect, haven't measured all the effects of behavior, but electromagnetic fields. So electricity and magnetism can affect whatever it is that you're you attract. Whatever kind of magnetism, you attract light to you. So if you want to have your world to be with people who are positive and pleasant, and I don't mean phony, I mean positive and pleasant, who feel good about themselves, and they don't have to put anybody down to feel good about themselves, right? And that's who I want to be. I want to be somebody who feels good about myself without feeling I have to put anybody down. I don't want to do that anymore. That's a part of me I want to leave behind. Because I'm doing that to somebody else. I'm doing that to myself, and I'm not going to do it anymore. I now will only use my word to speak into being all that is what I feel good. Okay, so then they start talking about, this woman talks about, you have to align the pharaoh with the heart. It's because the pharaoh is all about our thinking and our brain. And in some philosophies, like Kabbalistic philosophies, the pharaoh is the overthinking part of you. It makes servants of our thoughts, right? Where if you can get it down into your heart, where guess what's in your body, there's all kinds of different electromagnetic fields, okay? Guess where the strongest electromagnetic field in your brain is? It's right here. It's in your heart. So it's not even what you say, it's what you're feeling. So if you say thank you for something, feel a gratitude in your heart, know that you have lots to be grateful for, and that gratitude in your heart, and more can flow through you with that gratitude in your heart. It flows through you, right? So next, what else they talk about? The next question is, how extensive is this power within, the I am that is within I am, right? And that's the interesting thing, is how you activate getting your body to be whole, to experiencing that power, that I am power. Well, whatever you want to affirm to happen in your life for the good, you say your affirmation, and you say I am. Before you say your affirmation, you say I am that I am, and then you state your affirmation. I am that which carries a message to you. Okay, that's who I am. And then they suggest to even bring it home, to breathe in for I am that I am, and out to I am right? I am that I am that I am. I am that I am. Whatever qualities, if you can think of someone who has a quality that inspires you, think of that person, think of that quality that they have, picture that and say, that quality, okay? Um, let's see, well, that's a good quality for you to have. Non-judgmental, okay, accepting, okay, accepting. I am accepting. Who can I think of that's accepting? Jojo. I am as accepting as Jojo. I am as accepting as Jojo. Okay, I am that as accepting as Jojo. I am that as accepting as Jojo. Okay, Jojo was one of my first spiritual teachers. Okay. Now, the quality that inspires you. So bring the image and feelings that you have about that. Okay, and talk about mana, experiencing mana, getting mana. If string theory, which we are, at this point, that's how we explain what is a string theory, is a manifestation of all of this mana. This mana must be God's body. That must be what this mana is, all these little vibrations in spring theory. Those vibrations must be all that potential for being. That must be what God is. To feel that, bring that stuff through us. The experience of that. There's nothing greater, it's like taking a drink of alcohol. I can't imagine today wanting to take a drink of alcohol, because alcohol could never have brought me the place I am in my life in terms of what I feel my life is all about, and what I believe about life, and what I believe about this time and this place. That's what I was born to talk about. That's what I was born to be. So here I am. I'm being it. I am that I am Sassy Mint. I am that I am Sassy Mint. Catch you later. Careful of that dismount.